Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about something that can completely change your life if you truly understand it: self-control. Most people believe success comes from talent, luck, or intelligence. But when you study the lives of successful people, you discover something very interesting. The real difference between people who build powerful lives and people who stay stuck is not intelligence. It is self-control. Self-control is the ability to control your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, and your decisions. Even when it is difficult, anyone can stay focused when life is easy. Anyone can stay disciplined when motivation is high. But real strength appears when you are tired, when you feel lazy, when temptation is strong, and when nobody is watching. That is when your character is tested. Look around the world today. Many people know what they should do, but they cannot control themselves long enough to do it. They want success, but they choose comfort. They want growth, but they choose distraction. They want discipline, but they follow their emotions, and slowly, without realizing it, they lose control of their own life. But the moment you learn how to control yourself, something powerful happens. You begin to control your time. You begin to control your habits. You begin to control your future. Because the truth is simple but powerful. If you cannot control yourself, the world will control you. In this video, we are going to explore 10 powerful ways to build strong self-control habits and ideas that can help you become mentally stronger, emotionally calmer, and more disciplined in everyday life. And I want you to watch this video until the end because the last tips will help you understand something very important. Self-control is not something you are born with. It is something you build step by step. Once you understand how it works, you can start changing your life immediately. Also, by listening to this video, you'll improve your English listening and understanding. So, keep practicing with us and subscribe to the channel for more powerful videos like this. Tip 1. Look at the consequences before you act. One of the biggest reasons people lose control of themselves is because they only focus on the present moment. They think about what feels good right now. They think about comfort. They think about pleasure. But they forget to think about the future consequences of their actions. This is where self-control begins. Self-control is the ability to pause for a moment and ask yourself one powerful question. What will happen if I keep doing this? Most bad habits survive because people never stop long enough to think about their consequences. For example, imagine someone who spends hours scrolling on their phone every night. In that moment, it feels harmless, just a few minutes of entertainment. But if that person stops and honestly thinks about the consequences, the picture becomes very different. Those few minutes slowly become hours. Those hours replace sleep. Lack of sleep destroys energy. Low energy destroys productivity, and slowly that person begins losing valuable time that could have been used to learn, improve, or build something meaningful. One small habit repeated every day slowly shapes the direction of life. This is why powerful people train themselves to see the future consequences of their actions. Before they eat unhealthy food, they think about the effect on their body. Before they waste time, they think about the opportunities they are losing. Before they react emotionally, they think about the damage it could create. This simple habit, thinking about consequences, creates awareness, and awareness is the first step toward control. When you clearly see where a habit will lead you, it becomes much easier to make a better decision. You begin to ask yourself stronger questions. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this right now?" you begin asking, "Will this decision help my future or damage it?" This shift in thinking is extremely powerful because your brain begins to move from impulse thinking to responsible thinking. You stop living only for the present moment. You begin protecting your future. And the more you practice this habit, the stronger your self-control becomes. You start noticing your impulses before they control you. You start noticing your habits before they become destructive. And slowly you begin taking back control of your life. Because self-control is not about fighting yourself all the time. It is about becoming aware enough to make better decisions before damage happens. And the more you train your mind to think about consequences, the more powerful your discipline becomes. Over time, this small mental pause can save you from thousands of bad decisions and can guide you toward thousands of better ones. That is why strong people always remember something important. Every action has a consequence. The question is not whether consequences will come. The question is whether you are wise enough to see them before they arrive. Tip 2. Wake up at the same time every day. This may sound simple, maybe even too simple, but do not underestimate it. Waking up at the same time every day is one of the strongest forms of self-control. Why? Because the way you start your day affects everything that comes after it. If your mornings are random, your mind becomes random. If your mornings are disciplined, your mind becomes disciplined, and self-control is built through repetition, not through one big heroic moment, but through small daily acts of order. Most people wake up based on mood. Some days early, some days late, some days after 5 alarms, some days after wasting time in bed for an hour. That kind of beginning weakens a mind because every morning the brain learns something. It learns whether you are in charge or your comfort is in charge. When the alarm rings, there is a battle not outside, inside. One voice says, get up. The other voice says, sleep a little more. That moment may look small, but it is not small. That moment is training your identity. Every day, your brain watches what you do in that moment. If you keep choosing comfort, your brain learns. This person avoids discomfort. But if you keep waking up on time, your brain learns. This person follows through. That is how discipline is built. This habit is not just about sleep. It is about obedience to your own standards. It is about saying, I do what I say I will do. That sentence is powerful because many people lose self-respect not because they fail publicly, but because they break promises to themselves privately. They say they will wake up early. They don't. They say they will start improving. They delay. They say they want discipline, but they keep negotiating with comfort, and slowly their confidence drops. Why? Because confidence is not built by talking. It is built by self-rust, and self-rust grows when you keep your word. Waking up at the same time every day is one of the simplest ways to build that trust. The morning is important because it creates momentum. If you wake up late, rushed, and mentally weak, the rest of the day often follows that pattern. You feel behind. You feel unorganized. You feel like the day is controlling you. But when you wake up on time, something different happens. You begin with a small victory, and that small victory changes your energy. It changes your posture. It changes your thinking. You feel in control. And when you feel in control early, it becomes easier to stay in control later. That is why disciplined mornings are not just helpful. They are transformational. When you wake up at the same time every day, you are training many things at once. You are training consistency. You are training mental toughness. You are training obedience to structure. You are training the ability to act before emotion agrees. That last one is very important because self-control is not doing the right thing when you feel like it. It is doing the right thing even when you do not feel like it. And waking up on time teaches exactly that. Be careful with this sentence. Just 10 more minutes. For many people, this one sentence is not about sleep. It is a symbol of weakness because just 10 more minutes becomes just one more scroll, just one more episode, just one more day of delay, just one more week before I start. That mindset destroys momentum, and life is often shaped by small repeated delays. So when you defeat just 10 more minutes in the morning, you're not only waking up, you are breaking a deeper habit of postponing discomfort. That is powerful. Do not start with something unrealistic. If you normally wake up at 9 o'clock, don't suddenly say, "Tomorrow I will wake up at 4:30. That sounds strong, but often fails. And failure repeated weakens self-trust. Instead, choose a realistic wake-up time and make it non-negotiable. The power is not in waking up extremely early. The power is in waking up consistently. Consistency is always stronger than intensity. And once your brain gets used to one stable wake-up time, your mind becomes more organized naturally. This tip is really teaching you one thing. Control starts early. If you lose the first battle of the day, the next battles become harder. But if you win the first battle, something inside you changes. You feel stronger. You feel sharper. You feel more aligned. And that is how self-control grows. Not by thinking about discipline all day, but by proving it to yourself every morning. Tip 3, look at the reasons. If tip 1 was about consequences, this tip is about purpose. Because self-control becomes much stronger when you remember why you are trying to control yourself in the first place. Many people fail in discipline because they are trying to force themselves without emotional connection. They say, "I need to stop this habit. I need to become disciplined. I need to control myself." But their reason is weak. And when your reason is weak, your discipline breaks easily. Why? Because emotion always defeats weak logic. If temptation feels strong and your reason feels weak, temptation wins. That is why you must look at your reasons. Not once, again and again. The human mind does not stay disciplined for no reason. It needs meaning. It needs direction. It needs a cause bigger than comfort. When your reason is deep, discipline becomes easier. For example, a person who wants to improve health because they are tired of feeling weak has a stronger reason than someone who just says, "I should eat better." A person who wants to build success because they want to change their family's future has a stronger reason than someone who just says, "It would be nice to be rich." A person who wants self-control because they are tired of wasting their life has stronger energy than someone who just wants to be better. Reasons create emotional fuel. An emotional fuel keeps you moving when motivation disappears. A wish sounds like this: "I want to improve." A reason sounds like this: "I am tired of living below my potential." A wish sounds like this: "I want to become disciplined." A reason sounds like this: "I refuse to keep destroying my future with temporary pleasure." Can you feel the difference? One is weak. One is fire. One disappears when life gets hard. The other becomes stronger when life gets hard. That is why you must go deeper than surface desire. You must ask, why does this really matter to me? What pain am I trying to escape? What future am I trying to build? What will happen if I keep living like this? Those questions create seriousness, and seriousness is powerful. Many people try to change, but they do not have emotional clarity. So the first moment temptation appears they collapse. Why? Because the habit has immediate pleasure, but their reason has no emotional strength. This is why people say, "I know what to do, but I still don't do it." The problem is often not knowledge. The problem is emotional connection. You know the rule, but you have not connected the rule to your real reason deeply enough. And without that connection, the mind chooses ease. Do not borrow reasons from other people. Your reason must be yours. Not people say I should improve. Not everyone else is doing it. Not it looks good. No, it must be personal. It must touch something inside you. Maybe you are tired of living in guilt. Maybe you are tired of breaking promises to yourself. Maybe you are tired of wasting your talent. Maybe you are tired of being controlled by your impulses. Maybe you are tired of feeling weak in your own eyes. That pain can become fuel, but only if you face it honestly. Every day, remind yourself why self-control matters. When temptation appears, don't only say no. Also say, this is not who I want to be. This will take me away from the life I am trying to build. I want more than this temporary comfort. That changes the emotional weight of the moment. Now, the battle is not just about resisting pleasure. Now, it is about protecting your purpose. And purpose is much stronger than random willpower. Sometimes the reason is not external. It is internal. Sometimes you need self-control simply because you want peace, because you want to respect yourself, because you want to stop feeling controlled by your cravings, your emotions, your habits, your distractions. That is a powerful reason, too. A person who controls himself feels different. He walks differently. He thinks differently. He speaks differently. Why? Because control creates dignity, and dignity creates strength. If you do not know your reason, you will live reactively. You will move based on feelings. You will follow impulses. You will chase comfort. But when your reason is clear, you begin living intentionally. Now your actions are connected to something meaningful. Now discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is protection. It is self-respect. Tip 4. Delay instant gratification. One of the biggest enemies of self-control is something called instant gratification. Instant gratification means choosing something that feels good right now, even if it damages your future. Human brains naturally love instant pleasure. Sweet food, entertainment, comfort, scrolling on the phone, avoiding difficult work. These things give the brain quick dopamine, the chemical that makes us feel pleasure. But there is a hidden danger. When you always choose instant pleasure, your brain becomes addicted to easy rewards. And when the brain becomes addicted to easy rewards, difficult tasks start feeling unbearable. Working hard feels painful. Studying feels boring. Building discipline feels exhausting. But here is the powerful truth. The most successful people in the world have trained their brains to do the opposite. They have trained themselves to delay gratification. Delaying gratification means saying, I may want this right now, but I will wait. It means choosing a better future reward instead of a quick temporary reward. For example, instead of watching videos for 2 hours, you study something that improves your skills. Instead of eating unhealthy food every day, you control your diet to protect your body. Instead of avoiding difficult tasks, you face them because they build your future. In the moment, these choices feel harder, but in the long run, they build an extremely powerful life. Weak minds chase comfort. Strong minds chase growth. Weak minds ask what feels good right now. Strong minds ask what will make my life better tomorrow. That simple difference changes everything. Because when you train yourself to delay gratification, you become someone who can do difficult things without needing constant pleasure. And that ability is extremely rare. Most people destroy their own progress not because they're incapable, but because they cannot resist temporary pleasure. They know what they should do, but they choose what feels easier. They choose comfort. They choose distraction. They choose entertainment over effort. And slowly their dreams fade away. But when you master delayed gratification, you gain something powerful: control over your impulses. You stop reacting to every desire. You start making decisions based on long-term value. That is how strong people think. Start with small delays. If you want to check your phone, wait 5 minutes. If you want junk food, delay the decision. If you want to avoid work, start working for just 10 minutes. This small delay trains your brain. It teaches your mind that desire does not control you. You control your desire. And every time you win this small battle, your self-control becomes stronger. Over time, your brain begins to respect your authority. Your impulses stop dominating your behavior, and you become calmer, stronger, and more disciplined. Tip 5. Never skip your workout. You may wonder why exercise is connected to self-control, but the truth is simple. Exercise is one of the best training grounds for discipline. When you exercise regularly, you are teaching your brain something very powerful. You are teaching your brain how to do difficult things, even when you do not feel like doing them. And that ability transfers into every area of life. Many people think self-control is purely mental, but your body and mind are deeply connected. When your body becomes stronger, your mind becomes stronger too. Exercise teaches patience. Exercise teaches persistence. Exercise teaches consistency. You show up. You push yourself. You repeat the process again and again, and slowly you become mentally tougher. Every time you skip a planned workout, something happens inside your mind. Your brain learns. It's okay to quit when things feel uncomfortable. That lesson slowly spreads to other areas of life. You begin skipping other things, too. Skipping study, skipping work, skipping responsibility. But when you refuse to skip your workouts, even on difficult days, your brain learns a different lesson. It learns, this person finishes what they start. That belief becomes part of your identity. Self-control is strongly connected to one ability, the ability to tolerate discomfort. Life will always contain difficulty, challenges, fatigue, pressure, frustration. If you avoid discomfort, you become fragile. But exercise teaches you to stay calm inside discomfort. When your muscles burn, you keep going. When your body feels tired, you keep moving. When your mind says stop, you push a little further. This training builds mental strength, and mental strength supports self-control. Another powerful benefit of exercise is momentum. When you complete a workout, you feel stronger. You feel proud. You feel disciplined. That feeling spreads into other parts of the day. You start making better choices. You work harder. You feel more focused. One disciplined habit creates another. Over time, exercise changes the way you see yourself. You stop thinking, I'm trying to become disciplined. Instead, you start thinking, I am a disciplined person. That identity is powerful because once discipline becomes part of your identity, self-control becomes easier. You are no longer forcing yourself. You are simply acting in alignment with who you believe you are. The deeper lesson of this tip is not just exercise. It is consistency. It is showing up even when motivation disappears. It is refusing to break promises to yourself. Because self-control is not built by motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Self-control is built by consistent action over time. And exercise is one of the best daily opportunities to practice that. Tip 6. Look at self-control like a fruit. Many people misunderstand self-control. They think it is something you suddenly gain in a single moment. They imagine one day they will wake up completely disciplined, completely focused, and completely in control. But life does not work that way. Self-control is more like a fruit growing on a tree. You cannot plant a seed today and expect fruit tomorrow. You must plant the seed. You must water it. You must give it sunlight. You must protect it from damage. And over time, the fruit slowly grows. Self-control works exactly the same way. Every small decision you make is like watering the tree. Every time you resist a temptation, every time you wake up on time, every time you complete a task, even when you feel lazy, you are feeding the tree of discipline. But many people quit too early. They say, I tried being disciplined, but it didn't work. The truth is, they stopped watering the tree before the fruit appeared. Self-control grows through repetition. Not one big moment of motivation, but many small acts of discipline repeated over time. One reason people struggle with discipline is impatience. They want fast results. They want quick change. But discipline grows quietly. You may not see the results immediately, but inside your mind, something powerful is happening. Your brain is learning. Your habits are changing. Your identity is slowly shifting, and one day you suddenly notice something surprising. Things that were once difficult become easier. The habits that once required effort now feel natural. That is when the fruit begins to appear. Think about someone who decides to wake up early. The first few days feel hard. The body feels tired. The mind resists. But after weeks of repetition, something changes. The body adapts. The mind becomes used to the routine. What once felt difficult now feels normal. This is how discipline grows. Quietly, gradually, patiently. The most powerful transformation happens inside your identity. At first, you think I am trying to become disciplined. But after practicing daily habits long enough, your thinking changes. You begin to say, I am a disciplined person. That shift is powerful because once discipline becomes part of your identity, your actions begin to follow naturally. You no longer fight yourself every day. Your habits support your goals. Your mind supports your growth. And your self-control becomes stronger than your impulses. The biggest mistake people make is quitting before the fruit grows. They expect quick transformation. But the strongest people in the world understand something different. They understand that small, consistent actions repeated over time create extraordinary results. A disciplined life is not built overnight. It is built through patience, through repetition, through commitment. So when you feel like progress is slow, remember this. Every small act of discipline is another drop of water on the tree. And if you keep watering it long enough, the fruit will come. Tip 7. Quit sugar and control your cravings. Your ability to control your body strongly affects your ability to control your mind. One of the biggest challenges today is craving. Craving for sugar, craving for junk food, craving for easy pleasure. These cravings train your brain to chase instant rewards. And when the brain becomes addicted to quick pleasure, self-control becomes weaker. Sugar gives the brain a strong dopamine response. Dopamine is the chemical that creates pleasure and reward. The problem is not only the health effect. The deeper problem is what it teaches your brain. When your brain receives quick pleasure repeatedly, it starts expecting easy rewards everywhere. Difficult work feels harder. Delayed rewards feel frustrating. Patience becomes weaker. This is why controlling your cravings is important for self-control. Many people try to build discipline only through motivation, but discipline grows stronger when you train your physical habits too. When you control what you eat, when you control when you sleep, when you control your daily routines, your brain learns an important lesson. It learns that you are in charge, not your cravings, not your impulses, not your temporary desires. When you decide to reduce sugar or unhealthy habits, something interesting happens. Your brain will resist. It will say, just one more. It's not a big deal. I'll start tomorrow. These thoughts are not accidents. They are the voice of your impulses. And every time you say no to that voice, your self-control becomes stronger. You prove to yourself that your desires do not control you. You control your desires. The discipline you build with food, exercise, and daily habits spreads into other areas of life. If you can control your cravings, you can control your distractions. If you can control your eating habits, you can control your time. If you can control your impulses, you can control your decisions. Your body and mind are connected. When one becomes stronger, the other follows. Many people think discipline makes life restrictive, but the truth is the opposite. When you control your cravings, you become free, free from addiction, free from constant temptation, free from feeling controlled by your impulses, and that freedom creates peace. Because the strongest form of self-control is not constant struggle. It is the ability to live calmly without being pulled by every desire. Tip 8. Practice meditation. Many people think meditation is something mysterious or spiritual. But in reality, it is very simple. Meditation is the practice of training your attention. It teaches your mind how to slow down, how to observe your thoughts, and how to remain calm instead of reacting impulsively. In modern life, our minds are constantly overloaded. Notifications, messages, videos, social media, stress from work, stress from responsibilities. Our brain rarely gets a moment of true silence. Because of this, many people live with a restless mind. And when the mind is restless, self-control becomes weak. Most bad decisions happen when the mind is rushed. When you're stressed, angry, tired, or overwhelmed, your brain looks for the easiest escape. This is when people react emotionally. They say things they regret. They make impulsive decisions. They follow temporary pleasure instead of long-term goals. Meditation helps break this pattern. It creates a small but powerful space between stimulus and reaction. Instead of reacting instantly, you begin to observe. You begin to pause. And in that pause, your self-control grows. One of the most important skills meditation teaches is observation. Normally, when a thought appears, people immediately follow it. For example, I feel stressed. I need distraction. I feel bored. I need entertainment. I feel angry. I must react. But meditation trains you to watch your thoughts instead of obeying them. You begin noticing this is just a thought. This is just an emotion. This feeling will pass. And when you realize that thoughts and emotions are temporary, you stop becoming controlled by them. A calm mind is a powerful mind. When your mind is calm, you think clearly. You make better decisions. You respond wisely instead of reacting emotionally. Meditation builds that calmness. Even just 10 minutes a day of quiet breathing and awareness can slowly change the way your mind works. Your focus improves. Your emotional stability increases. And your ability to control impulses becomes stronger. You do not need complicated techniques. Simply sit somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. When your mind starts wandering, and it will gently bring your attention back to your breath. That is meditation. The goal is not to eliminate thoughts. The goal is to train your attention. And as your attention becomes stronger, your self-control becomes stronger too. Over time, meditation teaches you something powerful. You realize that you are not your impulses. You are not your anger. You are not your cravings. You are the observer of those things. And once you understand that, your reactions become calmer. Your decisions become wiser, and your control over your life becomes stronger. Tip 9. Master your emotions. Self-control is impossible if your emotions control you. Many people believe emotions should guide every decision. If I feel like it, I do it. If I don't feel like it, I stop. But emotions are temporary. They change constantly. And if your life is guided only by emotions, your direction will constantly change too. Mastering your emotions does not mean ignoring them. It means understanding them without being controlled by them. Many life mistakes happen during emotional moments. Anger can destroy relationships. Fear can stop opportunities. Frustration can cause bad decisions. Excitement can lead to risky choices. Emotions themselves are not the enemy. The problem happens when emotions become the decision maker. Strong people learn to feel emotions without letting them control their behavior. When emotions are strong, the brain wants to react instantly. Someone criticizes you. You react with anger. Something goes wrong. You react with frustration. Someone disagrees with you. You react defensively. These reactions happen automatically. But self-control means choosing a response instead of a reaction. A reaction is emotional. A response is thoughtful. When you pause before responding, you give your brain time to think. And that moment of pause can change the entire outcome of a situation. Many people believe emotional control is something you are born with, but it is actually a skill that improves with awareness and practice. The first step is simply noticing your emotions. When anger appears, notice it. When frustration appears, notice it. When stress appears, notice it. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself, is reacting this way going to improve the situation? This question alone can prevent many unnecessary mistakes. The strongest people are not those who control others. They are those who control themselves. Anyone can shout, anyone can react, anyone can lose control when emotions become intense. But remaining calm in difficult situations requires real strength. That calmness is a form of power because when you control your emotions, other people cannot easily control you. You become stable. You become thoughtful. You become someone who makes decisions with clarity instead of chaos. When emotions control your life, your inner world becomes unstable. One moment you feel happy, the next moment you feel angry, the next moment you feel stressed. Your life becomes a constant emotional roller coaster. But when you learn to observe emotions instead of obeying them, something changes. You begin to feel more balanced, more peaceful, more centered, and that inner stability strengthens your self-control even more. Tip 10. Discipline over desire. Desire is powerful, very powerful. It pulls you. It whispers to you. It tells you rest a little more. Do it tomorrow. Skip it this time. You deserve comfort. One small mistake won't matter. Just enjoy the moment. And most people obey that voice. Not because they're stupid, not because they're useless, but because desire feels natural. Desire feels easy. Desire feels pleasant in the present moment. And discipline often feels uncomfortable. That is why this final lesson is so important. Because if you want to control yourself, you must learn how to choose discipline over desire again and again until it becomes part of your identity. Desire is not always something dramatic. It is often simple. The desire to sleep more when the alarm rings. The desire to eat junk food even when you know it weakens you. The desire to avoid difficult work. The desire to react emotionally. The desire to waste time because focus feels hard. The desire to choose comfort over growth. These small desires do not look dangerous, but when they are repeated daily, they shape your life. That is why this battle is serious. Because your life is not only shaped by your dreams, it is shaped by what you choose in those small moments. And in those moments, desire usually asks for what feels good now. Discipline asks for what will help you later. So the question becomes, will you live for the moment or will you build for future? Let's be honest, discipline is not exciting in the beginning. It does not always feel rewarding. It often feels repetitive. It feels uncomfortable. It demands consistency. It demands patience. It demands action before emotion agrees. That is why many people reject it. They say they want a better life, but they do not want the daily discomfort required to create it. And this is where the difference between average people and powerful people becomes clear. Average people follow desire. Strong people follow discipline. Average people ask, what do I feel like doing? Strong people ask, what must be done? That difference changes everything. Desire gives temporary satisfaction. Discipline gives long-term transformation. Desire gives comfort for a moment. Discipline gives pride for a lifetime. Desire helps you escape discomfort. Discipline helps you grow through discomfort. Desire may feel sweet in the moment, but often leaves regret afterward. Discipline may feel hard in the moment, but often creates peace afterward. And that is why discipline is greater, because it does not only change your actions, it changes the kind of person you become. If you remember only one thing from this entire topic, remember this. Your life is shaped by what you choose when desire and discipline collide. That collision happens every day, sometimes many times a day. And every time you're becoming someone, you are either becoming weaker or becoming stronger. You are either becoming someone who obeys every impulse or someone who can lead himself with power. And in the long run, that difference becomes enormous. It becomes your body, your mind, your habits, your success, your peace, your future. That is why discipline over desire is not just a tip. It is a life principle. It is the final proof of self-control.